Thank you very much for accepting to interview with us. And just a bit about the position we're going to be going through today. It's going to be roughly about 30-minute interview, but we're going to spend probably the first 15 minutes on question and answer. Then the rest of the 15 minutes is just going to be to see what we have left over to go through. And if you also have some questions, you can ask me. So a little bit about our company, a little bit about the position. We kind of fairly new into Agile, although we've been taking up some Agile practices for a very long time, but we are still between like Waterfall and Agile. So the position you'll be interviewing for is Scrum Master position, but time to time we might also require you to be a bit flexible to accommodate some of our staff that are still purely waterfall. So it's going to be more of a blended position. So before we move ahead, can you give me a bit of your experience when we're talking about both the agile and the waterfall environment? How are you familiar with both environment?
I'm pretty much familiar with both the background of agile environments and waterfall.
Okay, and can you tell me a bit about some of the cases, some of your past experiences you've been able to work in an agile environment and where you've been able to work in a waterfall environment? And based on your experience, what has been like the difference between both environments?
Okay, my experience, I'm gonna start with waterfall environment. While I was working in Verizon, that was a waterfall environment, and over there, it has to deal with a project when we only get feedback from the project at the end of the whole developments, and that is like more of the waterfall environment. You don't get feedback from the customers and the stakeholders until the whole project is done. And which by the time that the project is done, there might be the scope has changed or the requirement has changed because the world we live in now is moving on a fast-paced environment, and thereby when all these changes, that means it's gonna cost us a lot of money to start fixing all these new changes in order to meet up with the new requirements, thereby working in agile environments. That is
Mhm.
in my role. My first intake in Agile was with my role in Kaiser Permanente, and that was where the first time that I was able to get that feedback, understand the feedback, because I was on that role as a business analyst, and that was my first intake as in the Agile environment, how we're able to get the customer's feedback, get the customer's requirements, and for my team to be able to implement that and be able to move on with the ongoing changes of the development that is going on in this world right now. So in the boutique, the agile environment world is the best that I would say in project management, because you're able to understand the customers' input and be able to get the customers' input enough so we can be able to deliver awesome goals to the customers.
All right. So, are you saying that if you join in my team, you're going to recommend we switch completely from the waterfall to agile?
No, I'm not gonna say that because Scrum Agile is flexible. So coming onto your team is for me to observe what your team is doing, and for me to understand what is going on in your team and how we can be able to, why you guys are practicing it that way, and how we can be able to work into like a working agreement and how we can be able to implement a little bit of change, because agile is not coming in to change your company's way of doing stuff. It's just only trying to make you the deliverables to be let me say, to make sure that you're able to be delivering on time and getting that input that you need, and being able for the team to be able to present that to the stakeholders in order for them to get an input of what the team is working on, to give their feedback if there's any changes that need to be implemented. So agile is not coming into, I'm not coming into your team to change anything right out the bat, except trying to make sure how I can help the team deliver more awesome goals.
All right. I see. Right. As already said, there's still quite a number of our team members that have not actually bought the concept of transitioning into an agile system. And one of the key role we are looking forward to someone that is practicing agile is to be able to help them to understand the reason why they should maybe think agile. Stepping in, how can you help us facilitate this process?
Coming in as the Scrum Master in your team, I'm gonna be able to have first of all, coming in, I'm gonna be observing what the team is doing. Try to understand how I can help the team, because I'm there to help the team. I'm there to serve the team to reach awesome goals. So I'm not coming, I'm gonna have some one-on-one with those individuals quite so I try to understand why they are fixed in the waterfall way of doing stuff. Try to know why they, try to educate them or influence them to see the good benefit of agile. And maybe try to have like a working agreement with them. How about we practice this a little bit? Let's take this intake and see how we're able to deliver awesome goals, see how we're able to deliver the value that the organization need. And maybe let's try it maybe for maybe for 2 weeks and see what happened, or for 1 month and see what happened. And influencing them to understand the benefit of agile, how agile is supposed to help them implement their work and be able to deliver small bite chunks of value to the organization within the time frame of 1 to 4 weeks. Yes.
Are there chances that we can do a 50-50 process to say, okay, we're going to keep this part on the waterfall, we're going to keep this part on the agile?
Agile is flexible. So coming into agile, yes, getting into it, there is some chances in doing that because of the flexibility, because agile is not coming in to change the way of working. Agile is just trying to make the deliverables for the team to be able to deliver that value in a more timely way while getting feedback from the customers. So yes.
All right, and this is kind of putting you on a spot. What would be a scenario where agile cannot work?
That's a good question. You got me there. It's a good scenario that agile cannot work. I think agile can be implemented in all different walks of life, because a lot of companies isn't implementing agile, and if a lot of even the food service, the hospitalities, the insurance, agile is flexible. It doesn't retreat you or redirect any company on their way of doing stuff. It just adds value on a small bite chunks. And the flexibilities is why a lot of companies adapting to it at this time. So, and it works with every organization. And maybe, I don't think there is a situation or agile that agile cannot work, because agile is a framework that can be implemented, a mindset. So practicing agile is a mindset. So it's what you make it to deliver goals and value to your company. Yes.
All right, thank you. Now let's go in the bit of some of the technicality on how to implement the agile process or the agile mindset. And let's go into talking about working with the teams. We kind of value a lot on our teams and our developer team, because they're the subject matter expert. And I guess one of the biggest value is to create an environment where they can be able to excel, right? Uh, coming in as a Scrum Master, what are some of the values you're going to bring in the team to help them do the job better?
Thank you for that question. Coming on as a Scrum Master, I'm there to serve. I'm a servant leader. I bring in my facilitation skills. I bring in my serving skills and my communication skills in order for my team to understand my team and to support my team into delivering the goals. So coming in as a Scrum Master and bringing my experience as a Scrum Master, serving the servant leader, helping the team remove any impediment that they have, making sure and keeping track of my team velocity and you know and driving the team into delivering those awesome goals. So I'm coming in to understand why the team is practicing or the implementing the procedures or practicing the procedures that they're doing and try to make it better. Try to have someone meetings, working agreement with the team in order to see how we can be able to deliver better for the organization.
And when you talk about working agreement, what exactly do you mean by that?
Coming as it is an agreement where the team members agrees on that is supposed to drive our team into delivering our goals. So it's like our team values are, hey, if we're coming, we're supposed to be on time and we're supposed to deliver this goal and how like an agreement where the teams can be, and the team is the one that agrees to this. I don't implement it. I encourage the team to bring in their ideas on how we can be able to work better, be on stand-up meeting on time, and that is an example of that, and how we can be able to, you know, peer programming, like implementing peer programming in our team. That's one of the agreements that I always try to, encourage my team to implement, and also knowledge transfer sessions where some team members are able to transfer some of their knowledge to others. So my team can be more cross-functioning, more collaborative. So if somebody is not around, somebody else can be able to take up the task without by making sure that the person is not committing to too much tasks. So all those is an agreement is what we do. I do in the beginning of the team working, coming in as a Scrum Master. Yes.
And have you had situation where you kind of set team's agreement and some of your team members go by the rules, and how do you handle that?
Actually, I've not had that situation because me being open to my team and communicating better with my team members always follow up with it because it's an agreement and we all understand to abide by that. But if there is a situation that might happen, I'm gonna have to have a one-on-one with that individual and try to understand why the individual is not meeting up with our team agreement and to be able to handle that. Yes.
Okay. And also talking about the team, definitely we're looking for someone that's going to be able to help our team move. We're working in a very fast-paced environment. How we're going to be able to track the work that you're putting in the team? How we're going to be able to track growth? What are some of the ways you'll be able to see if the team is actually progressing or not?
Thank you for that question. I track my team's progress using the velocity chart. And that is where I see the team's progress from maybe sprint one, sprint two, sprint three, keep on going and see how my team is able to meet up with our goals and how they're delivering. I also track their progress within the sprint using the burn up chart and the burn down chart, knowing if they are meeting up with their deliverables, their goals each day. So that is how I always track my team's progress.
Okay. And now talking about velocity, one of the challenge we have seen with our team has been sometimes meeting the velocity is not really an issue, but it comes with a lot of technical debt sometimes when we've seen situations where we want the team to really do much, they're willing to do much, but we end up with so much technical debt. Have you had that situation before, and how will you manage technical debt?
Actually, I've not had a situation where my team went into technical debt, because coming into a sprint, I always check out my team's capacity coming into that sprint. So the day before that, try to know who is available with that sprint in order for me to know what my team is gonna be committing to. So there, by if a team member is not there, we already know we're subtracting one story point from the other, in that sprint. So that is how I'm able to make sure my team is committing to what they are supposed to commit in a that sprint, while leaving a 10% opening, just in case if we haven't run into any discrepancy on this point. But I've not run into any technical debt with my sprint, because I always make sure my team is committing to what they can do on that point.
Okay. Okay, and I kind of missed it out. Did you explain what technical debt was about?
Technical debt is when let's say a team is supposed to deliver on an iPhone. Let me use our phone for an example. So they're supposed to make this deliver on that phone by the end of 2 weeks. But now the team actually delivered on it by washing and missing some scopes inside the iPhone. So let's say when I need that iPhone, I need it to turn on, I need it to be able to connect to Wi-Fi. And now the phone turns on, but when I need to connect to Wi-Fi, and it's not doing what it's supposed to do. That's a technical debt. So, and that can happen when your team is overcommitting to what they're doing, or when new works is being brought into this point, and when the end of this point, or the team is rushing to complete the task.
Oh, okay. All right. How will you handle technical debt?
How I will handle technical debt? That's a good question.
If that situation occur and probably the customer roll that back to your team and say, oh, you were supposed to fix this and this is malfunctioning. And definitely that's considered as work that has been marked as done, and it come back to your team. How do you handle that?
Thank you for that question. In order to handle that, that is after my review with my team, I'm gonna be able to, during retrospective, my team is gonna discuss how we were not able to deliver on that scope, and try to work out how we can be able to put that. My team is gonna put it to the next backlog, so we can be able to handle it for the next point. But then again, we're gonna talk about it, understand why the team went into that action, and try to devise action plans on how we can be able to mitigate such discrepancy for next time, like any technical that the team is gonna run into. So when my team have a technical that how I'm gonna handle it is during our retrospective, I'm gonna discuss it with my team, and my team with me is gonna be able to add it to the backlog, to the top of the backlog, for us to be able to take care of that issue.
All right, thank you. What are some of the facilitation techniques you use in coaching your team?
Thank you for that question. So coming into my team, I encourage my team to be to talk more, to be more communicative. Everybody has to talk. So let's say, let me use an example for my stand-up. Coming into the stand-up, we already know it's opportunity for my team to discuss on what we did the previous day, what we did plan to do today, and if there's any impediment from the work they have the previous day. So coming in, I'm gonna welcome to my daily stand-up. Can you guys give me a rundown of what you guys did yesterday? So, and most of them might not want to talk in the beginning. So I'll be like, okay, who wants to go? Maybe one person might go, and then if that person goes, and since most of them might be reluctant in talking, sometimes you pass the mic to whoever that is on the right side of your camera. So that is a technique I use on my stand-up. So they already know when they come in, and able to welcome them to the event we're doing. Then whoever that is gonna agree to go for or volunteer to go first. After that, the person pass the mic to the next person in the right side of their mic, and then that's how they go on. So the team is able to give their updates for that day. So that is how I facilitate that ceremony.
Okay, and definitely this is going to be my last question. I think we are kind of pulling towards the end of our interview. What has been your best achievement as a Scrum Master?
My best achievement as a Scrum Master is being able to serve my team. Serving my team means to delivering that are some deliverables, that are some goals and value to the organization, and getting that great feedback that my team is able to deliver. That is always my great achievement. So every end of this sprint, and it's not my achievement, it's a team achievement. So my facilitating those ceremonies, being able to understand my team and taking out any the impediment that the team is having in order for them to deliver that awesome goal is an achievement, but it's not my achievement, it's my team achievement.
Okay, and do you have any question for me?
Yes, I know you said that the team is going through an agile transformation. How far of that transformation is the team?
Oh, that's a difficult one to answer, but I would say we have like one agile team running, and we're trying to see how we can bring more agile coaches into the team to help in the process. But I don't know, see at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay. Have the team have an opportunity to have a serving Scrum Master in their team before?
Yes, we actually have a Scrum Master in our team. Although the Scrum Master is wearing kind of multiple hats, but I think yeah, he's doing quite well, and I think we've seen some quite some results. So, which is why we kind of encourage to see we can bring someone to uh, also close the gap and step into some rules.
Okay, what made the organization decide to go into Agile?
Okay, it's a difficult one. As said, we're just looking at best way to deliver, and Agile is one of the options we're trying. So we might still decide to go back to our normal way of working if Agile doesn't work for us. But as an organization, our goal is to look at explore opportunities that could be fruitful, right? So no straight cut answer to that, but I think we're just looking for best options and best way to pull that through.
Okay, so wow, how does the organization like the journey in Agile for now? How is the Agile journey been?
So far, so good. I think.
Because you said you guys might go back, so.
That's just my thinking, and just one person out of multitude, right?
Okay, that's my questions. How about what's next from there?
Kind of just taking some note. We're looking forward to the next phase, and you definitely hear back from us soon.
Okay. Thank you for your time, and thank you for taking out your time to interview me today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, good job. Are you ready for the feedback?
Yes.
Okay, how serious was the interview?
Very serious.
Some of the questions threw you off, and
yeah,
it's very good if you were to evaluate yourself.
Yes, the question that threw me off, what question was that? I can't even remember.
Not a question on technical debt?
Yes, technical debt. And what I do with when I want when the feedback, when they give a feedback, what do I do with that? With that, do I put it back on the backlog?
Yeah.
How does my team handle it?
How do your team handle technical debt? All right. Yes. So, feedback, I would say, if I were actually interviewing, and if this was like your first level, I will move you to the second level. At least you have at least 60%. And I'm just being picky because most people that might interview you might not really have like really much in depth of agile, so they might not really pick as detailed as I'm gonna be picky. So I'm being very picky. Number one, when I talk about how you get the stakeholder buy-in, you spoke about educating and influencing them. Now, those are the words
He
that
asked for stakeholder, he asked for the team.
we started by some of our managers don't want the idea, and I started by asking you how will you get to sell agile concept to them, right? Before I moved to the team, I did ask that.
I didn't
Uh,
remember.
okay, yeah, you were so focused in the process, so you probably did not remember that. Yeah, but then spoke about that, and you spoke about educating and influencing them. Right. That's the way it goes, but that's not what you should say.
Okay.
Number one, if you're talking to a leader and the leader is considering they're hiring you, and then you're telling the leader, okay, I'm going to educate and influence you. It's like, okay, I better be skeptical about bringing you in, right? So, the appropriate way to do that, it's just simply tell them, yeah, I do understand that some people might be skeptical because change itself is something really difficult. But in a nutshell, when we're talking about agile, we're talking about uh, finding better ways to work. So what I do is that I work with all the leaders to look at what business value do they want to promote, and I can be able to we can work together to see if agile is the way that's going to lead them through. One of the main reasons why people are skeptical, or leaders may be skeptical to accommodate agile, is because they've not really had that simple and deep conversation to see how it can really work. But the goal is not to push them to accept what they don't want to accept. The goal is that we want more better business. And my goal coming to the team is to see how we can get more better business if we implement Agile. So definitely not bringing any change, but I'm just coming in to add to the business value of the organization. Then when I went to the team, that's where you were talking about working agreement, right? And so you remember now that I spoke about the order before I came to the team. Now when we went to the team, we're talking about having a working agreement in order to help your team really work better. Yeah, working agreement is good because it's more like commitment. You want to get the team to get to a point where they can commit on some of the simple rules that um, you want them to implement, or you want them to work together with. That was really good. And I asked a follow-up question. What if some of the members, what if some of the team members don't accept or don't collaborate with the agreement? What exactly do you do? I love the way you answer is like, oh, I've not come across that before. So you don't always have to go the way you've been pushed to go. You can say, oh, that's it, but I've not really had that before because I really take time to engage with my team, make them uh, do it themselves and show them how to make them how to do it, help them how to do it themselves rather than me doing it for them. So if something that's coming from them, definitely they won't have a problem committing or agreeing to it. All right. And then we spoke about why, okay, I put her on a spot and I said, okay, can you give me a situation where you think Agile will not work? And you said, Agile is going to work in our environment. I disagree with that.
Really?
Now, when you're working with external vendors, you can use Agile with them because you can control their environment. So you use few contracts with them. If I'm
You use
working with
what?
a use few contracts, waterfall contracts. You work with them based on contract.
Okay, pure
If I'm work,
contract.
Yeah, so if I'm working with a vendor in India and I just met them online, I can get that flexibility. I want to be very strict with them because I cannot control the environment. So I need to get them to get into agreement that they're going to deliver on this day. And that's also a question about external dependency. You're depending on that vendor to be able to do that. So what you do is that you use contract and you give them a day that they will deliver, which is earlier than your team goes. So when you deal with external vendors and you rely with external party on most of your product, you cannot go purely agile. You still need to deal with external people. You don't have control over the environment. You still have to go with the waterfall. So that's where you do the blend between the waterfall and the agile. Yeah. And that is why you see most communities say they want a project manager and a scrum master because at that level, you're doing project management technique. You're not using agile technique.
Okay.
Now, uh, uh, okay, then we spoke about technical debt. I love the way you explained technical debt. I was so practical and real using the cell phone that now when technical debt is rolled back to your team, what do? And you say, okay, you estimate and you put in the next sprint. In most cases, if you put in the next sprint, you're going to consider it as new work, right? But technical debt means that we've already completed this work as done. So anything that comes in is coming in on the company because we have already paid for this. It didn't come the way we wanted. It's just like you order something from a buyer, then it didn't work the way you send it back. That's technical debt for them. So they don't estimate it as new work. They treat that as extra. So in most of the team, what they do is that they just ask if someone can help fix this. We don't re-estimate it. And someone just say, okay, I'm going to work on this. And then they work on it as extra work, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you can also give like maybe extra hour or extra time, which is more like it's costing us some money because people go, but we don't really estimate it as new work because this is work that's supposed to be done. All right,
So what I'm
then,
supposed to do there is when they say they have a technical debt, I'm gonna take it on and then ask any team
yeah,
member that can pick it up.
yeah, just take it down and you discuss with your team member who is willing to
Who
step
wants
in and see the
to,
step, and then they kind of own up, and then you see how you can quickly fix it and release it back because it's supposed to already begun. And then facilitation techniques. Okay, that was a bit generic when you spoke. When we talk about facilitation technique, we're talking about icebreaker. That's a facilitation technique. You use icebreaker. You help your team kind of get into the mode, right? You use games, kind of play the games. It helps. Those are facilitation techniques. So facilitation techniques are like really specific. Now you can say you use jokes most of the time. That's a facilitation technique to help your team really assimilate or so. And you can say sometimes you uh, creating an environment for effectiveness or yeah. So I will go with uh, icebreaker. I will go with jokes. I will go with games, and I will go with introducing frequent maybe 2 3 minutes break if we're running a sprint. Those are some of the techniques that help my team to think better and really do well. So facilitation techniques are very specific. Then the last question spoke about what's your best achievement as a Scrum Master. Now, this is supposed to be something very specific, a unique moment. You can say, oh, one of my best achievements is when I lost one member of my team and we're really thinking that we'll not be able to meet up with our velocity. But just by getting to my team and talking to them and encouraging them on the aspect of teamwork, I was surprised that they were still able to meet their goal. And that made me feel like, oh wow, this was one of the best achievements. Still being able to meet up with my velocity, despite the fact that I was short of capacity. But it's just because I don't work with people based on work. I just work with them based on relationship. So because of that team spirit, because of that collaboration, they could go beyond and above just to make sure that they keep the team name above. I think that really make me feel like, or the people I work with really value not just the work, but entire business value. Right. Perfect. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. You're definitely gonna do well on your interview tomorrow. I have no doubt about that. I'll just spend some time and go through this. I'm gonna share it with you at the end of the day, and then you're gonna be good.
Okay. Can I ask you something?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you give me more insights on Kanban? I know Kanban deals with work in progress. It's like more of a ticketing system where the team work as the tickets coming, right?
Okay, so you have the Kanban board and you have the Kanban team. So which one do you want? The Kanban team or the Kanban board?
The Kanban team.
So a Kanban team, it's
Because this
more like,
interview tomorrow is gonna ask me about Kanban. They need me to be able to handle a Scrum team and a Kanban team.
all right, so a Kanban team, they're still gonna use Jira, but what they're gonna do is that they can bring in work as much as needed. They just see the progress, they see have their daily update, where we are and all of that. But the difference is that uh, they're flexible in the way they bring in the work. It's more like you're building a website, right? And you have all the activities that need to be done, and you're working and you're seeing the progress. Your goal is to be able to move all the activities as fast as you can without really having a tight environment of retrospective planning and other stuff. They still plan though, they still plan what is going to come in, they still do prioritization, but then they don't have so much restriction to like, oh, we're in the middle of the spring, it's not good to bring up this because it's going to affect velocity and all that stuff. So a Kanban team kind of have an open end where work can easily flow in and flow out, right? What they use is like they try to use the Kanban board or the Jira board to limit work in progress. To say they should not really pull in a lot into the board. They can only be 4 item here, 3 item here. They can use that board now to limit the way work is being flow. And then the Kanban team, you definitely will not want to limit it to maybe 5, 10 people like in the Scrum team. You can have a lot of people working on it because the goal is to be able to get the progress on and not to really have uh, um, a fast pace and an environment and doing constant demos and other stuff. Yeah, they still have the flexibility to do what the Scrum team does, but they're not so strict on the framework.
They do stand-ups,
Yes, they do stand up.
retrospective, all those things. No, no.
Yeah, they do. They do retrospective. They do everything that a Scrum
Sprint
team does.
reviews, sprint planning.
Yeah, they do planning and they also do review. The edge where they are flexible, it's about the intake of their work, right? But it might kind of differ in a different environment. That's why they call something the Scrum ban. So Kanban, it's more flexible. Let me say that it's not too strict.
So like, let's say they ask me a question and I'll be like, that term that I use ticketing this thing is more of a ticketing. Is that a right time?
Oh,
Or
ticketing is the general term for calling stories. Stories called a ticket, picking a ticket and all that stuff. So it's a general term for calling stories.
okay.
Mhm.
And what else? So can you tell me more of a subject matter expert? Can a Scrum Master be a subject matter expert, SME?
Yeah, subject matter expert simply means I know exactly. For instance, you might have someone with a UX, user experience engineer, right?
Wait, please.
The subject matter expert in that area. You may have someone with a front end developer. That's a subject matter expert. They may be needing someone who is really versed with coding and security. Subject matter expert simply means this is my area of expertise. So as a Scrum Master, you're a subject matter expert in facilitating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this asking for Scrum Master / SME.
Yes,
So
subject matter expert in the field they are
in
talking
the
about.
in the field I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They're also going through an agile transformation. And I had a
So the
question I
way to
wanted to
handle
ask.
agile transformation question is to focus on the business value. Don't focus on change. Don't lecture them about agile principles. So focus on delivering business value. And the goal is to look at how Scrum can help them do more better rather than to implement agile. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I had a question I wanted to ask. I forgot. So they do like sprint planning and do like that user story, and it's supposed they have product owner too, or no?
Yes.
They have product owner and
Hmm.
they do sprint planning
Hmm.
and they're just able to pull in work as much as they can,
Yeah.
and they can finish it anytime in this point and pull in a new work
For a
and
new one. Yeah.
and then finish it and pull in a new work.
Yeah. So the
Are they
difference
time
is
backs? They're not
on the
time backs.
come again.
They are not backs to like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. No.
Yeah, they can be flexible to deliver in 1 month. They can yeah, they can be flexible to say, okay, we're gonna retrospect, we're gonna review and retrospect every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 1 month. The no Kanban is an agile principle, so it still has the flexibility, right? The difference is just on the flow of work. The
So
difference between Scrum team and Kanban is on the way the flow of work and the way they allowed the work to flow in.
okay, is it okay to say that a more mature team uses Kanban or no?
Now, it's
It's
not
not.
about a more market team. It's just like the team where they say, if we have a project that comes in, we can drop this one and take up the other one, right? They're more focused on completing the job and delivering on time, right? And they use just Kanban to make sure everyone can see the progress of what is going on. They can see, try to make it visible, more transparent. Yep.
So that means this job that I said I just got accepted is looking like more of a Kanban thing where they say new requirement comes in and they drop the other one and try to meet up with that. So it's more like a
Yeah.
Kanban thing that they don't know of yet.
Yeah, they're practicing Scrum band. So they, although they're doing Scrum, but they not use Scrum. So they kind of just
Oh,
pulling
they're
in
passing
and
both
yeah,
waterfall. They're still
yes,
on waterfall, doing transformation into Agile. So they're still
yeah,
on waterfall, Scrum.
yeah, they're doing
Um,
that.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right.
This was helpful.
You're welcome. All the best.
Yeah, thank you.